had the Scram for a month now. It's been quite interesting. I did have a test ride on one last September at a camp I was at, which I really, really enjoyed. And we did a bit of off-roading as well. Yeah, my first impressions were actually that it was taller than I remembered, which actually was because I'd ridden a Tiger the day before. So that was slightly disappointing, I suppose, because I'm relatively short. I was kind of looking forward to it being really easily low enough.
How tall are you, Lana, by the way?
5'4" and a half.
Okay.
But I've got quite short legs. So this is, I think it turns out being 3 inches lower than the Himalayan. It's got smaller wheels and the seat's slightly cut out. So that obviously makes it much more accessible for people with short legs. The first thing I tried to do with it, so it got dropped at a place that I work and it's got some land there. The first thing I tried to do was ride around a field. It's really, really wet and I don't have mud tyres on. So that was exciting. It's kind of slidey. I was hoping to do a little bit more off-roading or green laning than I've managed to do. And I would have liked to have tried it with some different tyres on to see how well it handled for that. The suspension is quite stiff for being fairly light. Then turn it to the lowest setting. And I still find it too hard. It's quite juddery around, like not juddery. It's quite solid riding around the road, so you feel every pothole. So I've ended up riding.
The settings.
It's got a twisty thingy down there. So with a seat, you just get a C-spanner on it, and you can change it. So it didn't come with one. It should have had a toolkit, but I guess it's disappeared somewhere along the line. So handily, I had a Honda one, which did the job. So I'd have liked it to have slightly softer suspension, and also I'd have liked wider pegs, because if you're standing up on it, they're not that wide, and they've got the rubber bit on, which I didn't take off, but obviously that's there to. It's just got a bolt underneath, so it could quite easily come off if you wanted to.
Did you find it quite slippery with the rubbers on?
Yeah. Especially because I also had muddy feet by the time I'd slid around in a field with it, which was not the best thing to try and do with it, but it was fun.
Anything else you didn't like initially?
The tank is slightly too wide just here. Maybe it's because I've got relatively short legs, or, I mean, it is just fairly wide if you've got something that will go off-road. If you're standing up on it and you want to grip with your knees, it's just slightly wider than I'd like. Yeah, I quite liked it to begin with. I still do like it. Pros, it's quite comfortable, it's really good at everything. It's nice, easy controls, mirrors. It's really obvious what your speed you're doing, what the fuel is. It's just very straightforward, useful, nice, comfortable bike. The gears and brakes are all in the right place and just feel quite natural. Yeah, there's a built-in sat-nav with the Enfield, which does work out. You have to download an app for your phone and then just set the route, but it basically works through Bluetooth, so it's basically the same as having your phone mounted on your handlebars. But it does have a nice clear little thingy of images of corners.
Did you use that?
I have tried using it just to see how good it was. I don't use sat-nav that much anyway, because I mostly go places I don't know or something, but yeah, it was quite straightforward, quite liked it. It does beg the question of why would you not just use your phone, because it's connected to your phone anyway. The side stand is really, like, you can't miss that you've just put the side stand down. It does go twang, like, really solidly. So that's a good thing, I guess. It's just something that is really noticeable. So riding at night, the display is really quite bright, and it's quite distracting that it just, if you've got cars coming the other way with bright lights, it'd be really good about town. It's quite nippy, quite good at low gear ratio and easy to handle. Really good down the country lanes. It's got really good road holding. Even like riding here, it's raining today and I just rode over, and the only thing it slipped on was a cattle grid, which is understandable. Yeah, so I really like that. I found that riding it, it's so similar to the Himalayan that I almost thought it would be better to have a Himalayan because for the luggage and things like that. The styling of this isn't, to me, different enough to make it stand out. I'd have maybe liked to see the exhaust like higher or just something to make it slightly more different.
So you've ridden the Himalayan?
No, I've only looked at them.
Okay.
But I'd like to ride one. Get around to it sometime. I sat on one, which is something. And it's relatively the same. It's got the same engine, and it's just the wheels are slightly different and things. So, but that's partly me thinking what I would use this bike for, and I'd want to put more luggage on it, which it's limited. I think probably you can take these off, and it's got the same places you could probably bolt the other bars on to put more luggage on. I'd have liked to try it with different tyres because it's winter, and I'd have liked to take it on some off-roads.
So they're too slippery for any off-road whatsoever?
No, they're good for tracks that are made up, but as soon as you get on a bit of mud, they're a bit slidey.
Yeah.
They just kick it about a bit. So it's almost like they're for looks rather than. I mean, they'd probably be good actually in the summer when it's dry. I'm not sure exactly who they're aiming it at or who they're aiming it. What use. Because it does do a little bit of everything, and maybe that's the point. Maybe it's for around town, and then you maybe want to go out sometimes to the lanes or do a little bit of off-roading. For me, it wouldn't be a bike that I would have as my only bike. I mean, I do tend to have more than one bike anyway, to be fair, but it's not excellent at anything that I've found so far. I don't find that it's that comfortable doing higher speeds on it. It will ease, it'll go to 70, it'll go along a dual carriageway, but you really feel like it's making an effort to do so. So yeah, the 411 engine, it's just not comfortable at that speed for a long time. I was going for a ride 250 miles last weekend, and I found that I really didn't want to take this. It was quite a strong feeling that it was just not going to be a comfortable day out. It wasn't going to be enjoyable. Trying to ride with people who are riding on bikes that have got bigger engines, a little bit of fairing. I didn't take this one basically, which was interesting to me that I didn't feel that that's what it was going to do happily.
So this one versus Interceptor?
This one is more fun at back lanes and it handles probably more nicely going cornering and things. The weight's different. It feels a little bit different, and I think I find this one is a bit better size-wise for me. To reaching the handlebars and things is a little bit easier. I would still want to bring them back actually on this one as well. I think I said that about the Interceptor, that it's too long a reach for me. I'm ending up sitting right up here rather than in the main bit of the saddle, which is the seat where you would normally be sitting.
Lana, jump
I'm
on,
waffling.
let's see. Because how tall are you again?
I'm 5'4.5".
Yeah, so give us a demo.
So that was the seat on me. So I'm only got my toes on the floor, both sides. To flat foot, I'm either having to lean the bike over or lean myself over. I've got the other foot waving in the air at the moment. So yeah, it's just toes down if I want to put both feet on the ground, which if you're stopping on a camber or something, you've got to really be prepared for where you're going to put your feet. So, but it's fun when you're on it. It's for me, it's reasonably shaped.
Okay, what about build quality?
Build quality. I don't have a problem with this build quality at all, and for value for money, it would be really good. The price is £4,849, which is relatively cheap for something. You get a decent bike that can do a bit of everything, and so it's quite affordable for compared to some of the other bikes that would do a similar thing. A little thing here, and it's just a twist and just the seat pops off. So you'd usually find a toolkit here, I believe. Not really any space to carry anything. You've got the bars on the back that you can tie things to.
All right, Lana, suspension, handling, brakes, engine, all that stuff.
Engine is really nice, goes along. Actually, one of my first initial thoughts was it made a funny noise. It sounds like a weird burbling noise, which is just how the engine is, and it's fine once you get used to it. But it was slightly disconcerting the first time I did it. It would be nice if it were a slightly bigger engine, because being a bit of an everything bike, I found that trying to do overtakes and things, it didn't have quite enough oomph to get past things quickly, which I'm used to having a Honda Bros, which is also a 400. That's a similar feeling. Suspension, as I said, I would like it to have a softer setting as well. Other than that, it was okay. It's okay if you stand up, going over all the potholes. Otherwise, I just ended up feeling a bit jarred by the end of a ride. I was just getting a bit shaken about.
Okay, so this is just, we've just been for a ride. We've taken all the riding shots, but Lana, you said something to me just now.
I said I may be being a bit harsh about the suspension on the bike, because I've got a widespread chronic pain syndrome, which basically affects my neck, shoulders, arms. If I've got that sort of seating position and going over bumps and things, I probably feel it more than most people do. So it's just something to take into account, though. When I'm saying it kind of hurts me a little bit, it may be fine for other people. So the other thing that I forgot to say was it's really good on fuel economy. It seems to go a long way on a tank, so that's really good. Braking is really good. Brakes quite steadily. Didn't have a problem with that at all. Handling, I really liked it. Really enjoyed it for doing lanes. It's fine for everything else you might want it to do, really.
Would you buy one?
My first impression, would I?
Because you really wanted one.
I did really want one. I really wanted one, and I was really looking forward to it. So it didn't quite live up to expectations. If I was going to buy, well, no, I wouldn't. I think probably I would go for a Himalayan rather than this, for what it does. I did really enjoy it. It was really good fun. But yeah, I was just left sitting on the fence about quite what it is doing, really. Basically, I don't think it would suit me for what I would do. I'd either want a bike that does more off-roady stuff and is a bit more rugged, or I'd want a bike that can do longer distances, dual carriageways, be more comfortable. Yeah, thank you to Sherwood Blake and Royal Enfield, and to Motor Filmer and Classic Motorcycle Channel. I really enjoyed it.